my friends? Yo, folks, how you doing? Welcome to another day, another time. More talking, more being, more breathing, more happy. How you guys doing? It's Thursday, which means I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I've got some good stuff to bring to the stream today. We're going to be talking about, didn't I just say I don't know what to talk about? I do know what to talk about. We have a plan. 322 is coming out soon, guys. And we've got a lot of interesting features here. So I've got a lot of videos and the roadmap. And we're going to go over everything that I think is going to come with 322. The stuff they've talked about so far, they have kind of confirmed. I mean, a lot of this stuff, like you can see, is committed. Some of the stuff is still not committed, but there has been a lot they've talked about. We've seen a couple leaks. And overall, we have a decent idea of what 322 is going to look like. So I thought I'd bring you along for a little detailed dive. You know how we do. Every couple weeks, we dive way too long into something. And this time it's going to be 322. So we just got a roadmap roundup yesterday. We'll start with that and then go from there, looking at all the things. But before we get fully started, hello, friends, live group. I'm going to start to try and actually format this so that when this gets edited for YouTube, we can easily, like, I can do a quick intro at the beginning, then we can talk, cut all that out, you know, get right into be a little bit better organized on YouTube. Good to see you all, though. I'm glad we've made it till Thursday this week. Everybody give a cheer. I really need like a grunt birthday party sound button so badly. Everybody give a little cheer. You made it through half the week. We're almost to the weekend. Nahore, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Echo, Bing, welcome, guys. Bert, Roy, Polite, Joy of Boomers. The Joy of Boomers. That sounds like a movie. Is that a Christmas movie? Doesn't that sound like a... The Joy of Boomers. I actually like that one. Drazen, what's up, dude? Purple Yeti and the Frisch. Hey, Frisch, did you see the lore video? Weren't you asking about that? Zero, good to see you. Welcome. Anyone else doing Siege of Orison? I'll be doing Siege of Orison tomorrow with the org around this time if you guys are available. I'm going to try and jump in with the folks. So much content. You definitely keep the workday from being boring. Thank you. Me and Mrs. T, we are back on our regular grind after, God, a crazy October and honestly a pretty nuts November too. For those who don't know, our house back in Turkey got hit by a huge storm, so that has taken up a lot of our time. Unfortunately, our house just got hit by another storm, not as big, but it seems that whatever happened with the hurricane that hit us in October has caused a permanent problem. So now every time it's raining, water is leaking into our work office back there, which is it's frustrating because our stuff is still there. So like we can't get everything out. I mean, people are there and they can move it, but we're not going to ask everyone to go in and move our whole house. So we're heading back to Turkey early, like we said, but that's been taking up a lot of our mental capacity. Besides that, I'm just getting off a cold. So it's been a little nuts and Thanksgiving and stuff. So we're just now getting back onto our grind. Normal schedule videos are getting back to it. Exclusive videos coming out in the next couple days. And we've got a streamathon coming up like in a couple weeks. So I'm looking forward to December. Marcus, what's up, dude? Thanks for joining us on the podcast yesterday. You guys, if you didn't catch Citizen Central yesterday as a supporter, it'll be out soon. We dive deep into the question of when will Star Citizen have too many ships? What is too many ships? And we also talk about some of the ships that are upcoming in the next year. It's a good talk. Anno, good to see you. Signusian, Polite, Caesar, Cotton. I see Cotton on Twitch. Hello. Alex Moore, Lincoln and Daft Digit and Waffle. Yo, a lot of good names in chat today, guys. Maybe Wave 1 today just said. PTU? Really? Oh, man. Wow, that's kind of really good timing. Amazing content, but also he's chilling. It's fun to tease him when he dies every time he gets his foot in a bunker. Hey, man, soon I'm not going to be dying so much. You're going to have to cheer for me instead of tease me or something. I don't know. Toes Gang, I see you. Rhino, Punji. What's up, guys? Notification Gang. Sometimes they miss. Ken, good to see you, dude. Welcome. Robert, Fred, Strick. The Joy of Boomers. It's not a Christmas movie. I wish it was. Mrs. T in the chat. It's my birthday. It's not my birthday yet. It's my birthday on December 15th. that's when we're giving away the Getax Siulin. And if you'd like to get in on that, make sure to hit the link or the command. Remember to cut my link so it's... Joy of Boomers sounds like a Bob Ross fan club. Oh, God. You mean your apartment or the house that was flooded last year? No, this is we have... There's a farmhouse, there's a house we were living at. This is the house we were living at. Heard about the second storm after. What's up with that, man? Turkey and turkey for Turkey Day? Actually, we have had turkey and turkey. I don't remember if it was on Turkey Day. I think it was. We've had some really good holiday meals over there. Oh, Kurt's Zero. Kurt's is Zero. Thank you for the sub. Brudarian, thank you for the sub as well. Y'all both awesome. Appreciate you. And Tyrus over there on YouTube. Bro. Join GII. Hashtag. Speaking of which, GII is we're hitting a stride, folks. If you want to get in on the ground floor, I get in on the ground floor because we're going to start doing big things next year. We've got good stuff planned. Enjoying salvage and stoked to see the next tier soon. Yes, we'll be going over that today, guys. We're looking at the next version of salvage coming up, hopefully in 322. And as I'm hearing, possibly in PTU first wave today. That's crazy. My name. Oh, you got the birthday on the 15th too. That's pretty cool. Happy birthday, my friend. Luna, I'm talking about our house in Turkey, which Turkey generally doesn't see hurricanes either, so it was weird. It wasn't deemed a hurricane, but it was hurricane force winds, so, you know. But yeah, it's weird that we got hit by one. When's the Arastra Q&A? I do not know. Okay, well, let's get started with this. So 322 is coming out. By the time this is out, it sounds like it might actually be at Wave 1 PTU. So this is like, I guess, a really nicely timed preview. Hope it works out. We're going to start with ships. That's always easiest. We will be heading through the Santoki Eye, which is coming up. We're going to look into the cargo updates that are coming up. This is going to be an overall look at the cargo refactor. So we'll get a little bit more than what's in 322, but I think the context helps. You got both of those. We got salvage preparation, as well as what we've heard from Ivkadi in terms of salvage. New settlements, Arena Commander updates, Squadron 42 updates as they are coming over to the PU from what we've heard. And that's mainly what I have so far. So let's check out the roadmap roundup first here and see what they've said. Hey Marcus, thank you for the super chat, dude. How will player capital ships change dynamic events? Bro, they're gonna have to expand dynamic events like crazy to... I mean, they're gonna have to like... That's gonna be interesting. How do you stop capital ships from entering smaller dynamic events? Could just straight break stuff, you know? Alright, so... Notable changes for November 29th, 2023. We've got new derelict settlements. We knew about that. This is actually a very interesting one because, well, there's some interesting history here. We'll get into that over the course of the last year. Arena Commander maps. This is I believe these are FPS maps. Okay, FPS and flight mode maps. This is very cool. Like, we're getting a lot more PU locations inside of Arena Commander, and the whole point of Arena Commander is to allow you to play Star Citizen faster. So to be able to put together events to show your friend easy and quick combat, and hopefully this expands beyond combat to include things like salvage and mining and engineering, as we're seeing with multi-crew locations. This could be the best way to showcase Star Citizen. So it's good to see them putting in more locations from the PU, because now you don't feel like you need to go in the PU as much to do that. They've also got the multi-crew and spawn locations, which is a big deal. We'll be going over that in the videos. And then the Siulin. So, it's not a monumental roadmap roundup. This is stuff that we kind of knew about already, but it's, I guess, getting mostly committed. Yeah, it's just the fact that they're committed, which is good. It's actually kind of funny because if you go here, we still are... We're still tentative on the replication layer update. And like that's in 321.1. So shouldn't they just move that on? Just toss that on over by now? Can someone put you in cryo so that you can play without arthritis when the game releases? Hey, I mean, I don't know. I go back and forth between wanting to just skip to the end of the game and enjoying the fact that I get to play it as it gets better and better. Part of me is like, man, I'm gonna spoil an amazing experience for myself, because you know the people who jump into this game in like 4 years, good for them. But part of me, it's also like it's really cool to get to play the game as it gets built. You don't get to do that very often. I mean, a lot of games say you do, but it's not as much. I think the only other game I really have that with is Universe Sim, and Satisfactory is like that. Most of the games I play are just DLCs and stuff, though. Born too late to explore the world, born too early to explore the galaxy. Well, I mean, there's plenty of ocean to still be explored. Do they not usually have future releases up here as well? They do. They do. There's a couple reasons why this is going to be the way it is. First, this year they have been a little bit late on getting... I think they were trying to do the 2 next updates on the roadmap. Now I think they're just sticking to the next update. And so technically they have 322 on here, but I doubt we're going to see 323 until January at the earliest, because they've got a lot of planning they're doing with bringing stuff over from Squadron 42. So there's a big shakeup going on over here in the right land. That was stupid. Explore the ocean. Yeah, we've seen how that goes. So I'm sorry, that was... all due respect, I swear. I did not mean for that to come off so callous. That was very rude. Just saying, exploring the ocean is hard. It's been proven. God, that felt really bad to say. Nice that things have accelerated so much since the feature completed. Squadron 42, so much content for everyone. Well, yeah, it has been nice. I've got a video coming out that I hope lands correctly. It's going to go into that. So first, we are looking at the Santok Yai. Where the heck is it? I had it here somewhere. Here we go. All right, so this is the latest update we've had on the Santok Yai, which is the next alien ship we're getting after the Gatak Sulin. Coming in 322, at least as of right now. It's not committed, but it's still on the roadmap. Let's check out what the last update on it was saying.
Let's talk about the Santok Yai. We haven't talked about the Santok Yai in a while. You can see here the alien material work continues to iterate as members of the NAVC continue to develop the resources our Xi'an friends would likely use to build their ships from. Through the use of a variety of material maps, they're hoping to land on what's essentially an alien version of carbon fiber, which should add lots of nice detail to the exterior and then add a pearlescent finish that'll really make it shine in the light. We've also got a quick look at the back of the wings. And then let's take a look at the cockpit, which you might remember from our Alien Week update has been a bit of a challenge to get right, wanting of course to give it that alien uniqueness while still being usable by the hands of humans and Zero State alike.
I don't know why that's a joke, but it's kind of funny.
And while we're talking about the Santok Yai, did you know that we have an entire team dedicated to branding over in the Montreal studio? We've rarely touched on it.
Okay,
but Nick
so this
Gordon
is actually, I really like this guideline thing. I used it in a video I released today. This is cool, and I hope they show more of this. It shows how much emphasis they're putting into making sure that everything that we encounter in the game is really purposeful. And the video that I've been talking about, I'm doing about Turbulent, goes into that a lot, because you'll notice that they did that with Pyro, whereas the colonialism outposts had a sort of thing going on, like way back when they started doing them, and we all remember they had like the Tatooine vibe. We all knew where they were headed, but it really felt like it was 2021 in CitizenCon when like the Montreal team came out and presented the space stations, the the colonialism outpost interior and exteriors, and we got the idea of how they were branding it. Feels like every system, every ship, every item, they're gonna like bang us over the head with, you must understand where this fits in the universe. So, you know, as long as it doesn't go overboard, I love it. And this seems like a cool sign of the direction they're going in, at least with ships.
And his team over there are dedicated to developing the individual visual identities of Star Citizen's several hundred internal...
I love these. I think the only thing that really surprises me here would be that MISC is leaning more high design than industrial, but I can kind of see that because they split both ways. But yeah, this is I really like this sort of stuff. This is juicy. This is crunchy.
Persistent universe brands, including this look at the brand document of Apoa, maker of the Santok Yai we just looked at. Really tied that together. Now, some folks might write branding off as simply marketing, but the work of this team has been essential to recent improvements to Hurston and Area 18 and New Babbage you just saw, allowing artists and designers alike to create consistent and immersive identities for each location. And as this work extends to nearly every aspect of the verse, it'll continue to help define and refine all visual elements you'll encounter as citizens making your way through Stanton, Pyro, and beyond.
All right, so that was mainly, I was just giving you that was context for the Santok Yai, but generally that was the Santok Yai that we saw, and as you can see, it's pretty different. This is not going to be a ship for everyone. It's a lot like the Cartual, and honestly, you don't see the Cartual too often. This thing is like a very, very maneuverable medium fighter. I think it's a medium fighter. Yeah, this is a medium fighter compared to the Cartual being a light fighter. So it's got a couple good guns on it, and these thrusters are like really valuable. These things are going to help you move in every direction faster than other ships. But as you can see, it's really spindly. Like, it's like a little grasshopper thing. You could get these sparks shot off pretty quickly. So part of this appeal is the alien side of it. Part of it is the maneuverability. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to find this an enjoyable ship, but I don't think you're going to see it around too often, to be honest. So that's the Santok Yai. The other vehicle we have coming in 322 is the X1. This is the next hover bike in the game. This one came... Gosh. They must have introduced this as a concept back in like 2018 or 2019, and it just took forever to get in the game. It's kind of funny because this was sold as the companion bike to the 400i, and then the 400i came out, and there was no one X1, and everybody's like, "What's there's like a special hanger in the 400i? Check this out." I'm sure they have like a picture of the X1 in the 400i. No, maybe not. You can kind of see here though, like if you look in this picture, whoever took this picture, there's like the gravity drive right here. This is the front of the ship. And then in the front of that, there's this little cubby bin here for the 100i. Apparently you can fit a PT. Excuse me. Apparently you could fit a PTV in it. And then you can see it here. Like, so you put your 100i on here, or your X1, goes up into the 400i. It's a perfect little ground runabout. It also is cool because it's a closed cockpit hover bike, so you're safe in space, you're safe in atmosphere, you can get around if you happen to forget your helmet somewhere. That it's actually a pretty nice deal, and it looks really cool. So here's the latest update we got on this as well. Hover bike with 3 variants. No, there are 3 variants of this bike coming in 322.
Elwyn and our North America vehicle content team have recently completed a first pass sprint bringing the Origin X1 to life, which you can see here is undergoing just a few minor changes from its concept, necessitated by continuing development of the vehicle component and resource management systems. Now, while this is still white box, that hasn't stopped the team from also visualizing some baked-in lighting improvements, and overall, even with the subtle shape changes, the X1 is looking fantastic in its white box form and will only continue to look even better.
Huh, is the X1 open, not closed? Okay, everybody was telling me it was closed last time, and I thought it was open, but people were saying it slides back. It says open canopy. Okay, I'm sorry then. I'm wrong about that. I said it was open last time and got a bunch of crap for it, so There's listening to chat. Hey, wait, I'm listening to chat right now. Okay, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to confirm this myself. This is why I shouldn't listen to chat all the time. X1 Star Citizen Hoverbike. Let's see. Because then I look like the idiot, right? Hey, look, it says it right here. X1 is an open canopy racer. Why did I not just look that up the first time? You learn, right? All right, so open canopy racer. You are not safe in atmosphere.
As it progresses further down the pipeline towards release.
So yeah, not nearly as valuable as it would be if it was closed canopy. So that is a good little thing to note, and I'm sorry that I said that the first time. So there's our two vehicles that are coming in 322, and you can see them here. Santok Yai, Medium Fighter from Aopoa, and the Origin X1. And then the two, I guess it's the X1 and the two variants instead of three different variants. But yeah, so it's not the most exciting patch, I think, for most people in terms of ships. Not as exciting as getting the Argo SRV, the C1, and the A1. That was a good patch for ships. But we might get something else in this patch that's not been mentioned. That's straight to flyable. Who knows? But that's ships and vehicles. Let's move on to features. Much more exciting. It does still look good. A closed canopy hoverbike would be nice, it would. Legs hanging down, open canopy. Just decided you don't want it at all. Legs hanging down as opposed to what? You want your legs up above you? You'll be sitting upside down? Alright. To be honest, instead of ships, you'd like to see more stability and bug squashing. I'll tell you what, they put way more effort into stability and bug squashing than they do ships. If you consider the efforts of the renderer and the actual bug fixing and server meshing and persistent entity streaming, they put a lot of effort into stability. It's just taking a while. Ships, in the meantime, don't take as long, so they tend to come out a little more often. You don't care if it's a soft top hover convertible, let you drive the thing to a bunker without the turrets getting all spicy about it. Turrets are spicy. We like spicy turrets. All right, here's some updates on cargo. I'm going to let this go for a little bit, and then we're going to jump closer to the more specific part that we have, which I think might be in the second episode, so I probably won't play this whole bit. But specifically what we're getting is boxes inside of boxes and the ability to see what's in the boxes. So we'll see if that comes up here.
Quest to ATC, and the hangar will move into place. We'll open up the doors. The system will allocate the space for you. Open the hangar and you can land. For the players, it will seem seamless, but underneath the hood, the system itself is going to be maintaining a representation of where all the players are, what requirements are needed, without having a bottleneck for players who are actually just trying to play the game otherwise. And then we have persistent hangars. Persistent hangars are kind of an evolution of instant hangars. And really what it is our first step towards real player ownership in the game, beyond ships.
The cool thing is that you'll be able to put your stuff in it, come back to it, and it's still gonna be there.
It's just
right,
whatever the...
So no, this is more persistent hangar stuff. I'm not trying to build the hype on that. We're trying to talk about boxes here. We're not getting persistent hangars in 322, I don't believe. So let's jump ahead a little bit.
What happens inside those boxes going forward?
With 320, we introduced a new packing system that allows us to use a larger set of box sizes. Right now, that includes 1 SEU, 2, 4, 8, 16, 24, and 32. However, with this new version of cargo coming out subsequently, we're gonna be adding the ability to have what we call inventory container boxes.
Inventory actually plays a big part of cargo as well. When you look at the sheer scope of number of boxes and a number of weapons and armor and FPS entities that we have in our game, we really want to make sure that not only is cargo physicalized, but that inventory has a proper location and place as well.
If you go to Port Tressler and you hit I, you'll bring up the player inventory screen, and you'll see that, okay, I have my access to Port Tressler inventory no matter where I am standing in the station. That's going to go away. This is very important because what it means is it gives the players a way to transfer in a very clean and effective way all of the loose items that you collect during gameplay.
A big change that's coming up is going to be having properties for those boxes. So that could be something like a box that's fragile.
So let me just confirm here, because it does sound like what they say in the roadmap here. Inventory cargo containers. Now this sounds like what they're talking about. The feature will allow players to store items in smaller cargo containers in larger cargo containers. This is super undescriptive. But I'm pretty sure this means boxes you'll be able to just access the inside of boxes, which is like, oh my god, that's, you know how long we've been waiting for this? Let me see something. Let's go back to Star Citizen cargo design documents. Let me show you the first time they showed us this idea. Now I don't know if it's going to be completely to this extent in terms of like we can literally just throw a gun into a box and it's being stored there, but check this out. This is like back in the day. When is this actually? This is 2015. That's actually not as early as I thought it was. But they have this idea here of item containers. Every container has two key statistics: cargo units and number of ports. These define everything the game needs to know about loading a container into a pallet or attaching it to a ship. SU defines the exterior dimensions of the container in cubic meters increments, while the number of ports defines how many discrete slots into which items can be placed are available. So they had this idea already of items being placed inside of boxes. This is how clunky it was. Y'all remember the mystical use command? Lord. So they have the idea, and this is something, as somebody pointed out in chat, like this is something we can do now kind of with the inventory menu. But what it seems like they're basically just doing is saying, okay, so you have nested inventories, we're physicalizing that. And as Scott said in chat, it is boxes and boxes, but it also sounds like they're including more than just boxes. It sounds almost like you're going to be able to loot all the stuff, go outside to a 4SU box, chuck it in the box, and that'll actually show up in an inventory sort of situation, as opposed to like, I guess, chuck it in a box and then put that box in a box. I don't know. It seems a little bit more robust to me than just boxes and boxes. I'm hoping that it's going to be individual items and they can be easily added to some sort of like a manifest or something for like the boxes or the ship that you put the boxes in. But I guess that would be further along with the Mobilas update. Either way, boxes and boxes. Is this still the plan though? That's what I'm hoping. We'll have to see.
That's coming up is going to be having properties for those boxes. So that could be something like a box that's fragile, or a box that could be radioactive, or that needs to be kept cold.
I don't think we're getting this stuff.
The other thing we're looking at with cargo and cargo boxes is the ability to store large items in your cargo boxes. This could be anything from a ship weapon to even...
See, so this is kind of what we're talking about. Is this coming in 322? We're not really sure.
Smaller vehicles like Grey Cats. That way when you're going with your friends, you're going to do a long haul across the verse, you can have these larger boxes filled to the brim with as many ship weapons as your ship is going to carry.
Anything that you think you want to take with you and hold on to, now you can put them in an inventory container box, snap them into the cargo grid, and haul it into your ship. Additionally, you'll be able to take those to the freight platforms in order to put them into your inventories. So it gives a kind of universal way to haul things around in the game, as well as a way for players to be able to pirate player inventories now.
So this is like, I mean, this is like the actual cargo refactor.
Together in these inventory containers, it just takes a tractor beam in order to carry them off. So it gives a lot of gameplay possibilities for us to have with these loose items.
A lot of these things will tie into missions and where you decide to place them on your ship. So we're really trying to make sure with cargo, it's not just a wide system, but that we're actually adding these kind of elements to help further gameplay, missions, and purpose.
You guys had the
So it's a it's part of the cargo refactor. This gets the next step. We started with they just physicalized boxes, and then they moved on to like more tractor beam functionality. Now we've got boxes inside of boxes, storing things in boxes. Then we'll have freight elevators and persistent hangars. Then we'll have manifest and actual the ability to transfer cargo more systemically in like industrial settings. So it's coming along slowly, and this 322 edition is just the next step, but I think it's a pretty big one. I don't think this really captures the scale of it the way they're describing it here, and I hope we see I guess we don't need to see more of this in ISC. Like, they gave us 2 episodes here talking a lot about design and cargo and stuff, so yeah, I guess this is a good update, and we've seen enough about this. I hope it goes to PTU soon so we can get more. But that is kind of what we're gonna get from cargo. Now, I don't think we're getting any ability to buy or retrieve things, because I think that's going to be linked to the persistent hanger. When I say things, like things you've bought, subscriber items and stuff. So we'll move on from cargo, but that's kind of the cargo based changes that are coming in 322. Needs hangers though. It does. More stuff for you to steal. The craziest part of all of this is just how different we're going to have to play the game. As CIG, I'd almost be scared to have built this game that's so open and basic and safe for years, that's almost entirely based around combat, and then now they're bringing in like industrial gameplay loops, they're bringing in more dangers, they're bringing in all this different type of gameplay, and most people still don't even know about Death of a Spaceman. Like, they're gonna have so much convincing to do with these gameplay components. Good luck to them. I guess that's kind of good luck to us, right? Because we're also going to be dealing with, if there is pushback, it would be, the players who are hearing it mostly. Can't wait for them to go full EVE Online so no one will ever take risks again. Not sure full loot MMO is a good idea. They're not going full EVE Online. They're actually trying to stick away from a lot of the things that caused problems with EVE, like the economy and stuff. Loot from other players in boxes are then lootable. Yeah, that is true. There is a danger though to this game. And I think there should be. Maybe that pushes away a large amount of people, but like, this was a game that sort of set out with a certain goal, and I think they can always lean a little bit into what people are asking for, but they should try and stick to their guns. Make sure people can get looted, but make sure that they can also keep themselves safe enough to avoid it. So the next part that we're going to go over here is salvaging, structural salvaging. This is the real salvaging. We did a deep dive into salvage earlier this year. You can find on the second channel, probably like 2 months ago. And we talked about the different types of salvage, siphoning, structural, scraping, all that jazz. So this is the next version. We haven't really seen much of it. I'm going to show you what we have seen so far, which is a prototype. And then I'm assuming we'll probably get some eyes on this in the next 24 to 48 hours, if not before you see this video. So here's an explanation of how this salvage is going to work and sort of how they're going about it.
So what we're going to do on this week's show, the first of our Q3 shows where things are a little bit different, we are going to look at a feature at the absolutely earliest stage. This is earlier than we've ever shown any feature ever, the prototype phase. What we're about to show you is not going to look good. It's not going to look pretty. It's going to be weird, poppy and buggy. So we're just warning you ahead before you take the footage and put it in your YouTube videos. What is the prototype that we're going to look at right now, Jacob?
We're going to be looking at the prototype for munching, the next tier of salvage. The idea being we need some way to take apart a larger ship and break it into little pieces so that you can then pick it up in your salvage ships, gain some material from that, and you'll be able to sell that later. but we're going to be looking at just the breaking a ship apart phase, which is what we're prototyping here.
All right, so I got it queued up here. Let's take a look at this here. So obviously this is a vulture approaching a gladius.
Yep. So for the prototype, we've added in a new munching mode, sub-mode to salvage. So all of that hull scraping UI has disappeared, and we're going down to just what we need for this prototype, which is the ability to break apart a ship, which at the moment is going to look exactly the same as if you blew it up with your guns, but in future that would look rather different.
What's happening right here? I see the bar filling up on the left,
Okay,
but nothing's
so
happening with the ship.
Yeah, so this is the placeholder for the actual gameplay that would happen here. The design will have some actual gameplay for what you have to do as a player to break the ship apart, but we put in that little placeholder, which is just essentially a timer, a progress bar, based on how big the target is.
And that is actually on purpose, because the question that we are asking in this prototype are more technical. That means that we shouldn't focus on the gameplay aspect, so we should keep the gameplay as minimal or as simple as possible, and then so that we can fully focus on the technical bits of the prototype.
Okay, so we saw it broken into some, what looked like normal debris, but now we got to break it into smaller munchable stuff. So we'll go back to the video here.
So breaking it into normal debris is stuff that you've seen before, but when we have this bigger part, it doesn't come apart into more pieces naturally.
Okay.
So in this prototype...
So I usually don't really touch on leaks too much, especially not stuff that's been data mined. But we do have a little bit, I'm going to give you guys a little description at least of what this is actually supposed to be like in game, because we do know as of yesterday, it's coming to PTU in the next couple of days, supposedly. So I don't feel super bad about it. If you don't want to hear this, mute yourself for the next 30 seconds. But essentially, structural salvage is the next step in the salvage profession. It's going to be used on both the vulture and the reclaimer. It'll be giving us a different type of material from scraping, known as construction components instead of RMC. And you'll be able to both fracture and then disintegrate the fractured components that you get from the ship. So if you come across a ship, you go up to it with the vulture, you use the laser to fracture a part of it or multiple parts of it. Sounds like right now it's just one part. And then you use a separate function to disintegrate that part and drag it in so that you can store that stuff in your ship. The kicker, which I think is probably the biggest addition to salvage for most people, is that they're adding buffers to the ships. So now you will be able to fill a salvage buffer. And whenever you're salvaging, this bar fills up, and then it tells you, okay, now you have to go back and get the box out and put it on the cargo grid, and then come back up here and start lasering again. Instead, you fill this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many times until you fill up a buffer, and then go back and take all that stuff out, which I think eliminates one of the biggest problems with the vulture specifically, but also helps with the reclaimer. So there are some nice quality of life improvements coming with this edition, but this is also a very, very big change to how salvage works. And it's an early rendition of it. It's not going to be super high quality. It's not going to have all the animations, but it is another part of the industrial game space, a big part of the industrial game space that's going to add a lot more variability to the way people play this game. So yeah. Let's keep going with this as they show us the prototype again. This is about 4 months ago, I think. Yes, it's like 4 months ago. So the work that they've done since this will be in 3.22.
We are just deleting the thing and replacing it with loads of tiny little placeholder pieces to act as the munched apart debris. What you're also seeing is a prototype for how you will get those pieces into your cargo, which is a little suction field that grabs those little pieces, drags them towards the grinder in the mouth of the vulture, and from there they're converted into cargo.
Those little pieces that we saw are obviously not arted and everything. I want to remind people again, we've literally never shown anything in a prototype phase before, so forgive me for reiterating this 2 or 3 more times before we're done here. This is designer art, just small pieces to represent the mass and the size of stuff that we might be using.
It's even worse, it's coda art.
Yes, indeed. This is the programmer equivalent of
These
a
look
white
like
box test.
these look like those little candies. I don't remember what they were called, but they were like the little gummy or maybe they were like gum. Yeah, was it gum? Little chiclets, right? Don't these like kind of look like metal chiclets floating in space?
Where I'm not even qualified to make white boxes, so I just rip off other assets that I found in the engine and just slap them together. So that's what this is.
And obviously, without being a prototype, there's no VFX, there's no explosions, there's no beams, there's none of the things that would mask this transition that would normally happen, you know, so that you don't see the pieces just pop in, you know, like they're currently doing.
Yes.
All right, so that was done on your local machine, just you on your workstation doing a local version of the universe here. The next phase, as I understand it, is to test it in PU conditions, and we're going to go ahead and start this video because this video is going to go for a little bit. Tell me what we're doing here.
Chiclet munching.
So,
okay, so somebody asked why they're not using Maelstrom for this. There is a chance they are. I don't actually know what they've said about this feature yet. It's going to be interesting to dig into it, but there is a chance they're using Maelstrom, or they are using a placeholder until Maelstrom is ready, which generally they don't do. But if it's easy enough and it works from their design flow, then they tend to make that happen. So this might be just that they're using something until Maelstrom is more fully ready. It sounds like right now, when you break the ships apart, it's not as systemic as Maelstrom would imply. So it might be weird for that not to happen in the future. So I think that that's just something that we can expect to develop later, much like, you know, we're not getting salvage charges, right? People are saying more beams. Salvage charges are also a thing we're going to have to be able to help with this kind of stuff. You're going to go in FPS-wise, and probably just like you're putting mining gadgets on rocks, you'll be able to put salvage charges on ships to blow open holes, get inside, and loot components and stuff. So there's a lot more that's still coming for salvage. This is just the latest update, and probably I'm guessing the next thing we'll see is like siphoning, because refueling is coming along too, and they're going to need that more for pyro. Now, I believe in this, let's see. So let's jump to this part. I think this is where we get a little bit more context as to how they're going about this.
What we learned from what we've learned from these tests so far. Obviously, there's some performance stuff, but there's also some gameplay implications from what we've seen. Torsten, you want to talk us through it?
Well, I can talk about some parts that we learned from, right?
Sure.
So the best thing that you can learn from a prototype is actually everything that goes bad, because this is the stuff that you can then iterate on and make the gameplay or the technical stuff even better. So from the gameplay perspective, so I will just talk about the gameplay stuff, and Jacob can talk about what we learned from a technical perspective there. Is from the gameplay we learned that what about big ships? So how, for example, now you saw the Vulture trying to attach to the 890 jump. That is a bit of a wonky situation and it doesn't feel right. So what about Vultures actually munching bigger ships? So how can we make that an interesting gameplay? Then you saw in the first video.
That's actually kind of a point, because if you think about the way the Vulture works, they pull up a couple of the pictures they have of the Vulture from before. Actually, I think there's really only one I need to find. And it would be this one. No. I know I have a picture of the Vulture in here. Oh, excuse me. In here somewhere doing its classic lasers thing. Where is it? God, so many pictures. I don't think it's labeled. Am I that lucky? Hey, it's labeled. So this was, I think, the first thing I ever saw that I assumed was like structural salvage, which is kind of what they're implying we're doing here. We're using a laser to cut off pieces and then disintegrate them. I'm not sure if they're still planning on doing this whole kind of tractor beltway in, but that was always their original goal with the Vulture. So if you look at this ship, like, it's kind of hard to imagine how it would cut up a piece of a larger ship than it is without lasers. You know, you can't fit in between these prongs. So what are you going to do? And I think that's, I guess it's kind of the same thing. Yeah, so this is the same sort of idea here. How do I get rid of that? There. That's a pretty good representation of what they've been talking about. And this was, I think, as recent as a year ago. So they're still looking at this whole conveyor belt thing, and I think we're going to see more use of lasers just because, like, when you have a bunch of ships doing the same thing, it's easier to make them look believable if they're all using the same tool. Laser's a pretty nice tool.
What happens when the ship transitions into the smaller bits? So the masking is a huge topic that we have to solve so that it feels right and you don't notice that one element pops away and another element pops in. So we definitely have to mask that. Then what you might have seen in the first part is the conversion of materials. I don't know if you paid attention to the filler station bar that basically fills the SCU crates in the backside of the Vulture, but that filled drastically faster than it would normally do with hull scraping. That means that it would be more painful for you to munch because you have to stand up from your seat more often, go down to the filler station, remove the boxes. So this is definitely an issue that we then have to solve because we really don't want to have this gameplay to be more tedious than it's has to be. So we have to find a solution how we can make it more like much nicer for the player to actually remove those crates there. Then the navigation around.
Muted myself. So there's the buffer that we were mentioning earlier, which is just going to be a great change to this, bringing a lot of functionality back to this ship.
The pieces is also something that we notice isn't that fun. So we will probably utilize the tractor beams there because we are anyway working on them. But maybe that makes it much easier for players instead of flying around and getting the pieces between the fork of the Vulture and then having it disintegrate, but instead you pulling the pieces in with a tractor beam. The fork of the Vulture is very limiting in terms of what pieces will fit, so this is also something we learned. And a big thing is, which already is standing out, is how can we make it fun and unique for the Reclaimer. So we just were looking in the prototype at the Vulture, and the big question that our team was asking in the end of that prototype was like, okay, how can we facilitate the claw and the uniqueness visuals, or the uniqueness in general of the Reclaimer, to actually facilitate that gameplay and have it stand out and be meaningful and fun.
All right, so a lot of gameplay. A lot of gameplay implications from just that little prototype. Jacob, what was your takeaways?
From the tech perspective, I'm looking at things like the performance and also just what am I going to have to account for to achieve the designer's vision here. And I know that we're going to want things like the time that it takes to destroy something to be somewhat proportional for its size and mass. But from the initial prototype, I could already see that a bigger piece taking longer. It already takes a few seconds with the Gladius. If we're going to scale that up and scale up the time as well proportionally to a big target, we're going to have to think about what equation are we going to use for scaling that, so that it doesn't take you ages, like sitting there for minutes to break something apart. I got to think about how I'm going to hook in the visual effects and the audio. What dependencies am I going to need to get involved?
Speaking of, judging time,
this is just like everything else in this game. This is going to get deep, folks. I mean, if you're worried about engineering, this will be the same kind of thing. Not everybody will have to do this, but if you do, you can probably get pretty deep into it, because what they're talking about with the rates that you're going at. I'm wondering, just going to tangent a little bit there. Do you guys think that would there be any point in refining salvaged materials? Like, if you salvaged enough of a certain material, is there a reason to refine it, or is it technically already refined from before? I'm not a meltist. What do you call people who do that? It is announced that it is refinable. Okay. Okay. So yeah, this all just starts stacking on top of each other. Man. Good stuff. Well, that's the salvage edition that we're looking at. This is structural salvage, as they're calling it. It's still tentative, but it is in testing in Evocati, so it's something that we might see in the PTU soon. Metallurgy. There it is. Which patch do you think freight elevators will come in? Probably the Q1 next year patch. Looks like they're aiming for easy to learn but hard to master for a lot of gameplay loops. Yep. That's the goal. Cool, so you can refine them into iron, titanium, and stuff. So then you're looking at not only will there be consumables and items to bring, possibly salvage charges, tractor beams to move salvaged goods. You need somebody who can EVA into a capital ship. You need space for components if you're salvaging some large components. You might even need a transport ship to get that stuff out of there if you're pretty remote. But then on top of all of that planning, you need a refining ship, you know, if you don't want to have to be flying back, or if you want your goods to be better value, or maybe you're salvaging for a base operation nearby. You need a refining ship to refine those goods on the spot, send them in a transport ship off to your base so they can build with those materials. Like, the amount of supply chain stuff, logistics nerds are gonna just piss themselves with this game. It's gonna be nuts. Wow. And then you're factoring in like the danger of certain areas, the factions you have reputation with, who you can trade with, who gives you missions. Whew. Somebody's gonna need to write a book. Wouldn't be CIG if the name wasn't confusing. What name? Construction components, that they call it that when you salvage it. Why not just salvage material or something? Also interesting, I wonder if you RMC, if you're hull scraping with one arm and then you're bringing in, you know, your construction components with the other arm, will they mix those boxes? Are they going to separate the two different queues, the two different buffers of RMC and construction materials? Like, what's the deal? And you need someone to wash the house and the toilets. Of course, jeez. Yeah. Your biggest issue with munching is the Vulture can only hold 12 SCU. Technically, that's nothing. They need to make a little space trailer or something to attach to it. That would actually be kind of fun if you could hitch stuff to the back of ships. But I think that's partially how they get these starter ships to start to need to expand a bit. So it's not like you're completely limited from doing the Vulture work, but you do need to start thinking about bringing somebody with you, NPC or player. The game is already becoming a dream as a spreadsheet lover. I talked to Red Monster about his mining spreadsheets, and like, from what I've seen, this is a great game for if you love some Excel. And now they're putting AI into spreadsheets, so you get to do like a whole bunch of nice tables really quickly and stuff. Oh, tables and graphs. Could be all salvages RMC, then we were finding the construction materials. That'd be nice, yeah. Sounds like they're different because it suggested that you lose unscrapped RMC if you munch it. Oof. Well, hopefully you're not accidentally scraping when you were munching. Ugh. Structural salvaging. Let's stick with that. You think the salvage material can be directly used by the Vulcan Crucible to repair? Probably, yeah. You could probably just have a repair shop right next to your salvage yard. Pie charts. The most delicious of all graphs. Oh, yum. Okay, so we touched on our cargo changes. We touched on our salvage changes. We hit up our ships that are coming in and the hover bike. What's next? What do we have next? Oh, I love this one. All right, we got some history here. So we're actually going to start off back in the day. I've done this a couple times already. I'm sorry. You're going to have to bear with me, though. If you've been here before, it's eye candy, right? It's fun to watch. So the first time we heard about these derelict settlements was earlier this year. But the next time we heard about them, we heard quite a bit. So we're going to have a little sit down here. Man, they really do go for a while on this. Okay, here we go. It's Mirai from here. It's about 7 minutes. That's actually not bad. Why don't we watch this segment? We can stop it and start it and talk about this stuff together. This is generally talking about the new locations coming in 320. This is the first look at it. I'm going to give you an updated look right after this, so you'll get to see some of the ways they've expanded this. But a lot of this is coming from the Montreal studio, which again, for anybody who is a Twitch subscriber, whether you signed up today, yesterday, whatever, YouTube member, all of those folks, you will get a video about this development in the next couple of days. It's going to be about this, server meshing, the new Zeus, all that kind of stuff. Really about the work coming out of Montreal. But for now, here are the new Derelict settlements they've been working on coming in the patch next month.
These Derelict settlements, we've been progressing quite well. We started with maybe one settlement last time we spoke, and now we're up to about 15 fully fleshed settlements with a unique look, narrative, and theme around them. The longest part is just finding a theme and then scouting these really epic locations throughout the maps, throughout the planets. And then we try and match the theme. Okay, what theme fits with this location? Let's say we're looking at cool mountaintops with really nice vistas, cool sunsets that are like on the side of a lake or a river, or just a little like a water source on the top of the Alps with like snow and everything. So we come up with these themes, and then we come up on the side with these really cool locations, and then we just like, okay, what can we match together? Let's find a cool name with them, and how do we make these unique settlements? You could easy.
See, now you joke in chat about this being a place to salvage, but I think that it is going to be a bit annoying if we start to see more and more things that are technically not like salvageable. Or I guess this would probably work with Maelstrom, right? But can you salvage this place? Can you come in here and just start destroying the buildings? I think that's what a lot of people are kind of questioning when it comes to Maelstrom. Will there be some kind of a timer when things respawn or get built back up, or what's the deal? So when you start considering features combined with features, things get complicated. But this on its own, these locations, what we're going to look into right after this is how they're doing things like theming and archetype of locations. And you start to realize that procedural generation can cause a lot of repetition, and that can get annoying quickly. That was what some people are complaining about with Starfield. You go to a moon, you run into a refinery station, it looks the same, it's the same layouts, all that stuff. The same thing will happen in Star Citizen. I think it's inevitable. We're going to have some annoying repetition. There's procedural tech here, but when it comes to the idea that you can find this same outpost in a forest location, a desert location, a snow location, a beach location, or you could find this one in any of those locations, or this one in any of those locations, or this one, and then you combine that with also there are the distribution centers, which will look different in different locations. There are space stations, which will look different in different locations, underground facilities and caves. Then I think you start to get enough variability that it won't get super old. But I understand when people look at these places and they're like, oh, I'm going to start to recognize these places when I'm seeing them multiple times. Hopefully there's enough types of locations to avoid that.
Settlements, you could easy see yourself like spend your life with your wife or your husband or whoever you want to play with, and just take it easy. My third favorite settlement would probably be the one beside the lake. It's a small settlement, as if like one person had a small little ship, he was by himself, they landed in the woods, but near enough to a little lake, and he's like, I'm going to make this little, almost like a fishing cabin on the side of the lake and live this super peaceful life. It has a few little cabs that are just like basically for shelter for like shaded areas where they maybe has a little workbench or a little table that they're making like crafting elements. He also built like a little dock so he can like maybe fish there at night. We planted a couple little harvestables as well along the coast of the water. He has his little house to himself. He builds as he wants. Maybe players can come and visit, but it's like a really social kind of small little settlement where I could definitely see myself living if I crash my ship. That's what I would probably do, just make my one little shack and build a little dock and just look at the sunsets at night kind of thing. The next most visually advanced one, we nicknamed it Cable City. There's a lot of wires, so they connect a lot of the solar panels, the windmills to all their habs. It's like overlooking this really cool lake down below. So we thought like it'd be a good idea to bring like the humidity aspect into it. So the terrain, we tried to make it a bit more muddier. We had like tracks of vehicles that went by. The terrain is just a lot more worked, a lot more detailed. So it just makes it feel like, yeah, the people are working there, or there's vehicles going by on a daily basis. They're probably scavenging like a ship that's nearby. We haven't really placed a ship for that one, but like it just story tells really well. Yeah, this a really badass vista with the clouds and the lake and the fog that lifts.
Which one are you guys feeling? Like, are you thinking? I know when I first started doing this, I remember somebody was super into Hurston, and that was the first planet we got, so it was very easy to be into Hurston. If you guys remember when that happened, it was like when you had 2 planets to choose between, Hurston and Arcorp, it was like, oh man, I'm so into this one. Now we have 4 planets, and you're kind of like, okay, I have more choice. You're gonna have 16 planets at some point, and people will choose a lot different vibes for what they want. But like, I'm looking at these different biomes, and this is obviously Hurston, right? This is like a savanna biome. This is also Hurston, more of the, I guess it's kind of savanna biome, yeah. And then we've got like some of these more foresty places and snow places that are like microtech. What, I guess those are the only 2 planets we really have to choose from right now. What would you guys prefer though? What's your choice? I feel like microtech has just the best views and vistas. Hurston's just so freaking dirty looking, man. Why they gotta be like that, Hurston? Why are you like this? 16 times the planets. How would you feel about a village on an Idris or Javelin wreck? I think that would be cool. Hold the phone. I may have something for you. Hurston is Fallout. Hurston is Fallout, confirmed. Bethesda is building Star Citizen. Confirmed. It was all a ploy. They actually released... I'm not even gonna... Oh, is this actually here? I might not have this video. I might not have the video I thought I did. I don't... Oh, here we are. We got it. We got it. Check this out. This is like a little town built in a Javelin wreck, right? This is actually what the Montreal team did to kind of get up to date with how to build for Star Citizen. They basically redid the wreck that we see in Daymar, but they put like a bunch of NPCs and like a little settlement inside of it. So this all happened. This is all before Derelict settlement started. This is kind of the first signs that we were going to start to get this stuff. And then like it took the team, I think 3 months. Yeah, like 3 or 4 months after this, we started to get this kind of stuff. This isn't in game. This never made it. This was just a test for them. I really, really wish they would put this in game. Hurston is less traffic. Really? Hurston's like center of the system. You'd think it'd be more. Microtech vistas are great, plus it's not so difficult to fly around at night. Huh. Do you guys get oh no, I'm sorry, this was December 2020. Yeah, so it was like 5 months later. Do you guys get a lot of frame rate drops in Loreville still since the update? I'll show you this wreck is in game. Here is a Javelin wreck that you can find in game on Daymar if you want to. And there's a whole lore story behind why this Javelin is here. I'm sure they'll update it someday to be a little bit more interactive. This is technically a point of interest. This is one of the only real things that you can explore for. It's just really, but you can't find it without just flying around aimlessly. So this is what you have in game compared to what we just saw, but obviously there's a lot more going on here now. Let's get back to that.
And the lake and the fog that lifts up in the morning is just a really nice one that came together super quick and super well. So I'd say that one is probably the second most fleshed out that I really like. The kit and all our object containers have been growing exponentially, which is making our work a lot faster. We're a bit more efficient, and we can use our Rastar tool to populate these settlements a lot quicker. We're building these kits as we go.
For reference, because I don't want to really I don't want to pull up another video. The Montreal team did have 3 developers who came on in March, I think, to talk about their work as environmental artists at Turbulent and the work they're doing here with these derelict settlements. And they said that the first set they did, which was the MSR and the 600i crash on Daymar, took them 3 months to do that one. And now, at least at the time, back then, that was in March, they were doing, I think they said 12 in 3 months. So they were able to take it from, I guess, I don't know, 36 weeks for one down to, I guess, 3 weeks for one. So they're making really big strides in terms of how quickly they can make these locations. And as he mentioned, a lot of that comes from the Rastar tool and these larger library assets we'll see in the next video as well. But that was in March. I don't know how many they're going to add with 322 because, again, this is something that they're reporting back in May. Who knows what they've done since then?
Also, like every new settlement or every new theme that we find that we're missing little elements for like pathways, some visual keys that makes them a little bit more unique. So as we go, we're increasing the size of the kit because we keep adding a couple more per settlement. As these settlements grow, we get to also share with the new settlements that come in. So we're able to do really small settlements, but also go into these really, really large settlements where it's almost like fortresses or small villages.
And we'll see those later.
Some that are like fully fortified. We
or
have
here.
Added gameplay like where we can play King of the Hill. We got other ones with like turrets, defense walls, security gates, but everything's still in derelict kind of shape, a bit more like Mad Max, where it's not abandoned.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. This, oh man. I think when we first watched this, I said on the streams when we were going over this, you could go back to like my reaction of this episode and maybe double check me, but I'm pretty sure I was saying back when we were watching this that this reminds me a ton of some of this stuff reminds me of Shadow of Mordor. I know I said that recently, but back then I think I said Far Cry. This reminds me a ton of like Far Cry, I think it was 3 or 4. 4? One of those Far Cry games. But this looks really Ubisoft to me, and it's just so funny to realize that so much of the team building Star Citizen in the Montreal studio came from Ubisoft. And you're getting that kind of high quality design and work that they do in those games, but it's getting applied to something that we actually love, which is really cool. So just if you notice these locations looking maybe a little bit familiar, could be that.
Derelict kind of shape, a bit more like Mad Max.
I'm also obviously the games industry as a whole is kind of on the same trend, so that could come from many different developers.
It's not abandoned, but like they use ship parts, and these things are still decaying over time through the harsh weather conditions on these planets. These settlements that have been like there for like 100 years. Others that maybe the spaceship just crashed and like they just started building a village for the last couple of years. Some people would make something that's a bit more fortified to defend against nature and all the elements. Maybe some people would make like a bar just to invite their friends over, expecting to be rescued soon enough, I guess, or within the next several years. So we have like a bunch of farms, we have greenhouses, we can have like hostile, and we can have also just social settlements now with a lot more assets to play with. My favorite settlement or outpost that we've created so far is the one deep in the forest. We nicknamed it like Ewok Village. Basically, you crash in the forest, so you're using all like what's around you, the elements. So there's a bit of lumber. So we're bringing a bit more organic feel to this settlement. I could definitely see myself building a nice little town in there that's nice and protected. It has these little half barricaded walls made out of lumber. And it has all these drapes, these fabrics, these tarps that are playing in the wind. We have these old windmills that are in the background with fields of crops that they grew, but also it's a bit of like overgrown vegetation at the same time because it's not like lined up perfectly. It's just like this little savage garden that you can pick some berries to survive or whatever. You have these big greenhouses during the winter season that you can actually grow stuff. You can also use these as harvestables. The player can go visit the greenhouses and just pick some things and add it to his inventory. And we really customized the art direction for each angle. So when the player approaches the the settlement, we really have like either a big ship carcass that you can actually like go through, and then it showcases like the whole settlement to the player's eyes. And on the other side, it just shows like different elements and different little hubs in the areas. So you know, like, okay, this is the farming side of the village. This is the more like the town hall, or like this little bar side. They have like really nice paths that are developed. When there's mud, we put like little metal plates and panels so that the player, like, you can tell like it's clearly a path. And we define the main player paths, so it's a lot easier for the players to navigate, find like the lootables. So it just feels a lot more alive, this one, because we spend a bit more time. And this is basically our benchmark that we're aiming for. So it would be the forest settlement, my favorite. So yeah, that's wraps it up pretty much for the settlements where we're at. They're evolving quite rapidly now with our new systems and our new tools. So we actually reduced the size of the team because we don't need as many artists, just because our kit is actually quite large now. So with just a handful of artists, we can really produce like a lot of settlements within a couple week period.
So we've heard some conflicting reports on Rastar and the performance of it, and it may be that it's a difficult tool to use, but it's definitely becoming apparent that it's letting them do things a lot faster. I mean, ever since they started talking about Rastar, it's probably a couple years ago, I would say over the last couple of years or so, locations have started speeding up a lot more. If you look back at these release views, and you look at like location additions, you'll see, you know, back in the day we would get, when they talk about locations, it'd be like new asteroids, or like the Stanton system polish, which is, you know, that's good. That's planet tech. We got different types of cave entrances, and then there would be like a city and a planet, which was good, but those were like the big pillars of the location, the system. We weren't really getting like small locations that quickly. It wasn't until around 2021 or so that we started to see like this stuff fall in place. The hospitals, the clinics, all over the place came in. Suddenly we were getting derelict spaceships on planets again. From there we got the derelict settlements, the next derelict spaceships, the racing tracks, then the derelict settlements, and the new city in Lorville. So like the locations that were small that included some gameplay started to make, I think, more appearances than earlier on in development, when it was kind of like the base layers, ground textures, geology, spacescaping, stuff like that. So I like what we're seeing from that. And what this was really just the beginning. Where are we? This is really the actual look at what we're going to get in 3.22. So what we just saw again were the update back in May. That was back when they realized that they had everything they needed to fulfill this goal. But it seems like they expanded on that even more towards the end of the year. So here is the larger expansion that will be coming in the next update.
Our system, they're completely system agnostic, so you can expect to see these outposts in other systems as well. And of course, we're going to...
Here we go.
Yoo! We are French Canadian on the... Here, cool. All right, guys, my name is Nicolas Pinchot. I'm from Montreal. I'm assistant art director, and I'm here today to show you the next new derelict settlement we did. But just before that, I just want to say thank you to everyone who worked on that mandate. You guys made an awesome work. I'm super happy and proud to be here today to show you that, all of you guys, and to the world. So let's go to the chase, and let me present you the new derelict settlement.
So you can see that these came from what they were showing us before, but I think they expanded on it a little bit more. Made it feel more like the settlements we're getting in Pyro as well. They got a bit more creative too. So this is like, I mean, this is, the scale of this is ridiculously big. I didn't notice, like when you're looking at it like this, obviously it looks pretty large, but then when they get down on the actual ground and you can see like how far you have to go, this is like a city. So these locations aren't just, they aren't just little outposts for the record. Let's look at just so we all can remember. This is what our outposts look like right now. The good old days. We're going to look back on this time and be like, oh God, the good old days. This is what our outposts look like right now. We've had these for 8 years. No. 6 years. We've had these since 2018 because you didn't have ground locations for that. Yeah. So 5 years we've been using these. No updates. No new social locations down on the ground. Just bunkers and shooting and a couple caves. To go from that to this is a big step up. And I think more than just being large locations, these are also very modular locations. I don't think when they put this down, this is how this will always look, you know? This could look in 5, 10 different versions. Hopefully. I guess we hope that's what they do. But they're big locations. And they're beautiful locations. They all look very different. Unfortunately, they're all very trashy. Stanton, Hurston, please fix yourselves. But they are focusing on one specific version of their architecture right now. There are, I think, 6 or 7. Where was that picture? Here we go. So right now they're building out this colonialism, frontier vibe sort of construction. We have utilitarian outposts. That's what I was just showing you on Google here. This is a utilitarian outpost. Very basic one, but it is. We still have streamlined metaclassicism, Henoism, high-tech, and super modernism that they'll have to build at some point. So they're not all going to look like this forever. I think they're just trying to really get this archetype good to go. Colonialism and Pyro, and the more kind of like derelict stuff in Stanton, because you can see here it says frontier vibe, that's Pyro, and then derelicts would be kind of the Stanton stuff. So I don't know when they would expand on different architectural types. I agree, it's kind of annoying seeing trash everywhere, but it is nice that they are new locations. But what are they going to do with them? I don't know how much they're going to expand missions inside of these places, but they do talk a bit about what they have planned. So let's listen to that.
Pretty cool, guys, eh? Oh, by the way, we made more than 4. It's not just 4. We made more than that. So we split those settlements into categories, social and hostile. In the social one, we will have drop-off mission, shops, food, loots, and drinks. And hostile one, obviously will be more focused combat. Let me show you what it's look like.
Okay, so I don't think he really says too much more after this. Let's listen to the conclusion here.
I like the end. The end's awesome. All right, in summary, guys, we're going to have a lot of new location on planets, links with nice mission and good gameplay. And the most important, all those locations will be in Q4 this year, available in the game.
That's just confirming the 3.22 part of this. So there are some pretty hefty, I think, things to consider with these locations. Just like a lot of other things in this game, they are exciting. I think they are cool at face value because they're diversifying the game. But they're going to be cool for a quarter. And then they'll be part of the game, and they'll be unmentioned. Well, not unmentioned. But you guys know how it is. Like, nobody really talks about the fact that we have 100 people in servers anymore. It's just accepted. That's just how things are. Nobody is going to pay any mind to the fact that we have tractor beams on ships in 2 quarters. Like, these things come in, and then the next thing becomes very important because we're always moving forward. So these locations are going to be cool, but they're not going to have a huge lasting effect that changes the whole game. I think that will come later once again, when they start to put more missions into these places. And more importantly, when we get actual exploration kind of stuff, scanning and data. I think one of the coolest parts of this game is that data is going to be a commodity. And I'm hoping, they talked a little bit about it at CitizenCon. I'd still like to hear it absolutely confirmed, and maybe somebody in chat can confirm for sure this is true. But all of these locations that we normally, you hit the B button and a bunch of quantum locations pop up, they're not going to be there. You're going to have to buy the location, right? Buy the map that tells you where a location is, or go out and explore it and find it yourself. But these random derelict outposts are literally derelict outposts because nobody really goes there that much. They're not actually that well known. And so in the game, the idea is that you're not really going to just fly straight to one of these things or just randomly show up. so hopefully that makes them a little bit more special, and makes them seem more significant. But really what's going to come down to it all is, I think, the missions that they throw in here. And luckily we have a new faction coming in the game too, but you know, I think they're just going to be like a repainted Ninetales for now. So in terms of mission variability, we don't know what it means with these locations, but the locations themselves do add some nice differences to the game, I guess. Yeah, investigation missions is actually a really interesting, it's an interesting point that we haven't heard much about, right? Like, I would say it's been a year since we've heard anything substantial about investigation missions. It's kind of surprising. We'll get used to them as always. But you notice that even though you get used to these places, they're still satisfying. Well, I don't know about you. For me, they are. Like I get used to what's a good, like I'm super used to the bunkers, for instance, but when I run a good FPS bunker mission, I still have a ton of fun. Remove all marked targets so you discover them yourself. I think it's going to be a certain level, right? Why would every person in the game have the location of the nearby security outpost? Or why would you have the location of Hurston Dynamics mining facility? You know, you don't, you can't just, I guess we do have Google Maps access to basically everything. But I think for the sake of the game, it would make more sense if not everyone had access to everything, because data is a commodity and they have to add some value to it too. Just make more off-grid drug terminals. That too. Or the ability to make drugs. Yeah, I guess since they don't have farming in the game, if you could just have a drug dispenser, you could technically start a cartel in the game right now. Bunker missions are addictive when everything works. It is really nice when everything works. Alright, so next bit that we're going to go over here is Arena Commander stuff. And I'm going to try and pick the bits that matter, but I'm not really sure what that is. We're going to talk about Arena Commander Part 2. We got a 2-part update, kind of like the design stuff that we looked at earlier today. This was... It was fun because Arena Commander was not doing well before. It really struggled, and they did the first update to it earlier this year, which made it more usable. It's still not running that great, but like it's got good game modes. They've updated maps, settings, UI, all that stuff is better. But the real exciting part was the what's it called? The multi-crew support, the private servers, and the general expansion of like FPS gameplay. And I think that's what we're finally getting with 3.22. So this is the real Arena Commander update we were excited for. And that's what we're going to touch on here with this video in a minute. You waited in Arena Commander lobbies in 5 minutes, the match never started, bro. Why are they wasting time on that? I mean, it's gonna matter at some point. Even if people aren't playing it right now, Arena Commander could literally be the #1 way that they get casual players into Star Citizen. This could be one of the most important parts of the overall experience. And so they want to make sure it's good. This is also something that we'll be able to do when we're in quantum travel. So it's a little extra bit for us when we're bored. It's going to be a good sales opportunity for them. And who knows, maybe they'll try and like release it on Steam or something to get in people's heads. All right, let's see what they say about what they're doing with the new version, though. It's pretty exciting stuff.
On a fan favorite, Echo 11, we're introducing that to Elimination. Echo 11 is quite a big map for Control. For Elimination, we've tightened it up. We've cut off access to the D room and some of A room and made it a little bit smaller so that the action can be more compact and suitable for Elimination. So last week we showed off Security Post Korea being introduced to dogfighting maps, but we've also introduced it to FPS maps, so you'll be able to play Elimination, Control, and some of the new game mods on Korea itself. So to recap, for Star Marine, you'll be able to play on the Good Doctor, a larger version of Echo 11 for Control, small one for Elimination, and the same for Damien and get Damien Comms, as well as Security Post Korea, which is being introduced to Elimination and Control. So with the Good Doctor, at some point along the line, all the trees disappeared. So designers went in and restored that, so it's back in this beautiful oasis area that it's meant to be in, and fixed the lighting and various other issues that just happened over time. I don't know how. And now Good Doctor's looking beautiful again. So Star Marine is a personal favorite of mine. I love FPS combat, and I'm so excited to be working on more additions to the FPS area of Arena Commander. And that leads us to something I'm super excited to talk about, and that's experimental modes.
All right, I'm a little bit behind. We don't need to talk about experimental modes. We need to talk about... Man, where do they talk about... Is it in... Am I in the wrong update? I thought it was a part 2. Talked about multi-crew support. Was it part 1? Experimental mode, gun rush, tank royale. Holy crap, I think I went to the wrong one. Madman. What a lad. Alright, let's see where AC update 1 is then. Oh no, it's part... No, it's not part 3. So it's gotta be part 1. Let's see. Where do they talk about this stuff? Come on. Front end. New Horizons. I guess they kind of mention it in the front end section. Let's see if they do.
Unify it. So patch notes are now included in the game, so you have quick and easy access to see everything that's changed about Arena Commander in detail since the last patch. We're also excited to say that we're working on widescreen support. It's still a work in progress, and we're hoping to get it in for this release, but I wanted to let everyone know that we're working on that. To the right is social menus, it's friends list, notifications, and party, and that takes us into the new lobby system, which we've completely refactored. This new lobby system utilizes the friends and party system, which you all know from Star Citizen and the PU.
So this is all in.
Works in tandem with it rather
This is what came in a couple updates ago.
You'll be able to invite people straight from your friends list or your party into your Arena Commander lobby or squad. This new lobby system is faster, more reliable, and hopefully be a much better experience than what you're used to. And it lets you play with the people you want to play with, get into groups faster and easier than ever before. So once you click launch, you'll go straight into the game, and the first thing you're going to notice is the new spawn screen, which is on almost every mode.
So this is what's going to be new. This is the multi-crew spawn support, I think.
Spawn screens are our way of essentially making sure that once you're in game, you can do things that you couldn't do before in Arena Commander. You'll be able to change your ship. You'll be able to change your loadout in game. All of these things are going to be things that you can do with the new spawn screen. It's the way that you can see the battlefield from...
I was a little early on that.
To actually get into the game. It's essentially our way of making sure that the player knows everything they need to know before they start shooting.
So what's great about this new spawn screen, among many things, it finally lets us bring multi-crew to Arena Commander. You'll be able to party up with friends and join their ships in free flight, both swarm modes and squadron battles.
You can just click on their ship and just jump straight into it. No longer do you have to awkwardly park next to each other and then get into the other player's ship. You can just spawn directly into the turret of that person's vehicle.
So like, I don't know how many of you, somebody mentioned it in chat, I don't know how many of you constantly want to just like get a group of people in a hammerhead and fly out and do like a claim jumper mission, and just everybody can just sit there and shoot at ships, you know? Like, why couldn't it be easier? Here we are. Now we can just do that for hours on end together. It's like, this could be the way that people choose to spend their, like, you know, their Star Citizen nights playing with friends, just battling it out in multi-crew scenarios, because that's kind of the fun part of Star Citizen that you can't do as much in other games, and being able to do it in a packaged environment is going to be really great. I do hope that this isn't just you can spawn into the seat and you're stuck there. I hope this means you can also move around the interior of the ship and take care of things, because like was also said in chat, that would be good for engineering support.
For now, for these combat modes, you'll be locked into your seat, but I'm
oh god, it's like a joke when they do that.
I'm personally super excited for eventually having engineering gameplay also in Arena Commander, and laying the foundations with this spawn screen, it leads into that. And this is just the first step. We're excited to eventually work on engineering and combined arms gameplay for these modes as well.
All right, so they're probably, in that case, they're probably not going to care too much about letting us get out of our seat until engineering's in game. And I'm pretty sure Torsten said he's internally he's targeting this next summer for engineering. So I guess we'll probably be locked to our seats until then, at the least. Still cool. It's still cool that we're getting that. It's just always funny when you were like, man, I wonder if we're going to get that. And then they immediately say it right afterward. So that's the big part of the Arena Commander update. There's also these maps that we're getting. We're getting this sort of, looks like a derelict outpost is going to be an FPS map. It's also going to be a flight map, actually. You'll be able to dogfight above there. Actually, no, I'm sorry. This says FPS modes. One of these, Bloodshot Ridge. This looks like also a derelict settlement. This is getting FPS and flight mode, so you'll be able to fight around this one. Oh, that fire does look like the stuff from Pyro, though. Yeah, I can't tell. I think this is just a derelict settlement. Yeah, one of Stanton's new derelict settlements. Cool. So 2 derelict settlements, and that's it, I think. And then multi-crew spawning, and the ability to choose spawn locations. Where's Theaters of War? What's up, Jock? You're 2 hours late. What did you miss? I think everything. I'm pretty sure we just finished. Besides the AI updates. We went through all the ships, touched on Arena Commander, container updates, salvage updates, derelict. Oh, the hair update. Let's take a look real quick at what they're doing with character hair. Oh, and there's also some graphical updates. So we got 2 more things plus the AI to go over. Show us the hair. I'm not going to go super in depth. They talked a lot about.
Basically, you can have a great texture.
They've talked a lot about how they've made this hair the way that they've wanted to make it. It is good looking stuff. They're using this sort of tapered effect, which, from what I'm hearing, is something not many companies can do because they just don't want to put the money and time into making this approach work. So a lot of companies do stick to this more common approach. And what CIG is doing does seem to lead to it looking more kind of wispy and fluffy. It also has a lot of like control. You have a lot of control over like how you color it, where you color it, what the length is, all that kind of stuff. And here are some looks at the new hairstyles coming out, new updates. Actually, before we do that, let me show you. No, never mind. They're not going to introduce star hair, so I won't show you that. Star hair. But here's some of the hair stuff that they're introducing with 322. They're just new styles. They're not like new technology or anything like that just yet. I appreciate the normal looking mohawk. The one we have in game right now is a little wild. The hair looks freaking great. I think it looks fantastic. You gotta be able to Karen in 30th century, dude. How am I gonna get what I want from the store? All right. So that's kind of like a in-motion look at what they're aiming for. Now, here is the actual deliverable that's coming in 3.22.
It also tells you when are you getting it. So, as a last note, I'll leave you with this video, and next, Forrest will come here to talk about this stuff. So, let's take a look at this, guys. This is actually what you're getting. Into the PU.
So it's these first 20 styles that will be coming in 3.22. It's not a huge update. It's just a little extra. Well, okay, they called it a major hair update. CIG, why you do this to me? Like, it's not a major update. And they're like, major update. So that's what we'll be getting. In the future, though, there is obviously all of the design and stuff involved in making this. There will be... more styles for people with curlier hair. And this is still pretty early. As you can see, it's not actually that curly here. There will be... Man, this stuff is all over the place. Where are we? There'll be facial hair. So you'll have beards and stuff. And as you're seeing here, also an updated character creator. So as you can see, he's getting beards. And then, like, there's also very cool the hair system. It's like the way it works is like you can pick the length of the hair, but then you can pick the length of a certain effect on the hair, so you can like change the way the color is applied. So you can choose like the root color, and then you can kind of change the distance that it is applied. I think it's very... I love this character creator. I think it looks a lot better, and it also works a lot better than what we have right now. And I'm glad that they still stick to what we have right now, in that you will be able to blend faces. So you can use the old version of blending faces, or you can just sculpt and drag. None of this is coming this year, though. This is all in the future. So it's going to be... There's also makeup settings that they're adding. And then this actually shows a better... This shows that kind of color thing I was talking about on the hair better. It's pretty cool. So that is the hair update. Again, not this stuff, just the first 20 styles I showed you. That's what's coming in 3.22. And then we've also got some engine changes that are expected to come. They are not on the roadmap, but we were told they were coming this quarter. So I'll show you them, but consider them tentative. Maybe they won't make it in, but they at least wanted to. And that is giving us a look at clouds, fog, and weather. Yeah, some frosted tips. I'm trying to make some a space Guy Fieri. I'm gonna open up Space Flavor Town somewhere, and I need to be able to frost the tips, you know. Someday the hair will grow naturally, mark my words. That's some Red Dead stuff. Face sculpting is very much like Meta's Unreal Engine's MetaHuman. You know what's funny is when the news came out that Andy Serkis was going to be doing the Van Duel work in Squadron 42, it was at the same time that they also were showing off some of the MetaHuman stuff. And I believe there was like an Andy Serkis video doing like an alien face. I feel it's probably gonna, yeah, this came out and it was eerily close to like kind of what he was going to be doing for the Van Duel. And it's interesting that like this is like from somebody like Andy Serkis. I know I'm getting a little bit off base here. We're just going to spend like a minute and a half looking at this. It's interesting that this is the quality we're going to be able to see from Andy Serkis in the game. I hope. I mean, again, this is Unreal Engine's facial animation, so we'll have to see what CIG can do. But completely off topic from 3.22. Here's the guy who's going to be voicing some of the Van Duel people, or doing the facial animations for the big guy.
Tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace. From day to day, to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out. Out! Brief candle! Life's but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
All right, dude. It's just a Wendy's. Yeah, that's I think that's CGI him on the left. I think basically they're just trying to show that they can both recreate his face, like a human face and an alien face. Cool stuff. I mean, not super relevant, but I just thought I'd show you that real quick. But yeah, the animations and stuff, the character art that they're doing for these new games and the engines and all this stuff is just like freaking crazy. Man, when we're experiencing this stuff in virtual reality, I will be a little bit scared. So here are some of the engine updates that we hear are coming in 3.22. We'll see if they actually make it though.
And fog worked on by custom vendor in the R&D team. The first new feature is the light shafts, where volumetric shadows from clouds cast into the atmosphere. They're truly volumetric and 3D, fully integrated. They're not just a post effect as it is usually done in games. With this, the atmosphere from an overcast sky gets darker, and this is important for planets and locations with bad weather. Another component is the new ground fog. It follows the terrain up to a specified elevation for different locations. It is also fully integrated into the atmosphere. It receives volumetric shadows from clouds and terrain. It reduces the light scatter into the view ray. And in this video, we are showing all the features combined together. In addition, we made many improvements to cloud shaping to allow for more variation and details. The shape noise blending, a vertical variation, has been improved a lot.
It's quite crazy how big a difference the lighting can make. And then with these areas, the ground fog just adds a lot of depth.
Also, we made it...
I mean, like, I didn't even realize there was a ridge right here until the ground fog appears there.
Also, we made improvements to shorten long distance read, and the tiling is less visible.
I think this is the most impressive, and this kind of shows the best of what they're doing with clouds. I always pause it here. I'll let it play through and then show you like half the screen, but the terrible jitteriness we get with clouds have been a problem since we ever got them, and I don't know what they did, man. I'm sure it's in the monthly report somewhere that we read through, but this looks great.
And
I'll do that again. Just so you can kind of see how much it changes from one side to the other. You can see on the right, that's old. We're all used to kind of the jittery clouds and the edges and stuff. It looks like freaking Dots ice cream or something. And then they smoothed it out a lot with whatever they did here.
And best of all, we're going to include all these new features and improvements in the next 3.22 release. Okay. Thank you.
So, I know they've been raked over the coals for dates and setting release times for things. So I assume if they're saying things like that, they're pretty confident about it. The fact that it's not on the roadmap, they put a lot of things into the game that don't end up on this release view of the roadmap. So we'll see what happens. I'm pretty sure people have been confirming in the Spectrum thread that those things are still happening. Jake still talks about that, but he generally points towards the release view and the tentative listing. So I don't know. One of the other things that we are expecting in 3.22, to what extent I'm not sure, are the movement of some of the Squadron 42 AI logic into Star Citizen. We don't know how much of that there is actually supposed to be. We don't know how well it will even perform, given the servers don't run well. But from what I've seen, AI is running a little bit better in even low FPS servers. So there's a chance that we are going to see a across-the-board update to FPS AI, or maybe it'll just happen sometimes. Didn't that already happen? Was that 321.1? But that was 322. Maybe I don't even need to go over it. But the Squadron 42 AI is supposed to be getting moved over into the game. And maybe that is something that happened in 321.1. They had a go, no-go meeting last week. Hopefully it made it in. With the clouds and stuff. Imagine when the Reddit comments would have been like when they were building the pyramids or the Roman roads. Dude, they talked about the pyramids so much on Reddit back when they were being built. You just got to go back to, the old delete Reddit websites and you'll find it. It's back there. Some of it happened, you thought? Yeah, I don't know. I thought that the Squadron 42 AI was coming in 322. I'll have to confirm with a source somewhere at some point. But for now, we'll look at kind of what they've been talking about with AI. Now, I wonder if he says it in here somewhere. Let's look a little bit at what he talks about with the AI systems and what they've been doing with them. I think, honestly, we're not really going to notice this that much until there are more AI in larger places, right? We just fight them in bunkers. They don't have the space to really do much. But here's a little bit of a look at where they are with AI, at least.
A picture for you guys. So this is the bunker mission in Pyro, right? And we have a set of enemies that are defending the environment. So this is imagine an infiltrate and destroy mission. Those guys are there defending the bunker. You need to take it over. You need to basically kill them all. You are now fighting against enemies that they defend the environment. So before we go to the next slide, imagine the same environment, very similar enemies, but different traits, same behavior. So now you are defending an environment and they are aggressive towards the environment. They want to take it. So what you will see here is that created a mix of enemies, some equipped with, for example, shotgun and aggressive traits. Now they will push towards you. They will force you to take actions and to react to them. They reload. Some will cover up. Obviously, this is with God mode on, so
Columbus
Zach
clouds.
does not die. So this is possible to set up with a tick of a box. But this is not just enemies, because in Star Citizen, we want you to hire your own crew members. And those crew members, those characters, will have different personalities, different traits, different training level that they can build up. But when you look at their traits, we want you to see their strengths and their weaknesses so that you can pick the one that either match your playstyle or compensate your playstyle. So one good thing that we want to show you today is the medic. So there are some NPCs that can carry, obviously, med pants, but not everybody is able to use it well or wants to use it in a specific encounter. So we want to tweak this, and we have the medic trait. Here we combine a lot of the tech that we have spoken in the past, usable tech, behavior tech. And as Jens showed you, players now can just not only kill enemies, because before our NPCs would just die. But now you can take them down, you can restrain them. So the eye perception is to carry all this information about the different actor states. So he needs to know if he's down, but if he's still alive, or if it's just, somebody that you need to wake up. So a medic in the regular combat flow can, when it's safe to do so, and at the right time, attempt to heal his mate that can be helped. So now you can imagine guard patrolling the environment, you take down a character, the guard finds this body on the ground. He doesn't know if he's alive or not. So he can go there, he can check it, check the pulse, see the state, and if he can be helped, he can basically execute the right healing process. If he needs a med pen, he will use the med pen. If he needs to shake him to wake him up, he will shake him up.
I wonder how often I'm going to be running into NPCs just constantly trying to heal a dead body, and it's not working. They just keep glitching, stabbing it.
Condition, they can come and help you out. We'll see now an example of this, where two factions are fighting, and you will see that at the right time, when the guy retreats, this guy can go there and heal his mate. And obviously, he needs to pick up a new weapon because he just dropped it.
Just like perfectly good too. He's just up and ready. Good for him.
So as we mentioned before, and as you've seen here, NPC can run out of bullets, but can also lose their weapons. So what we have to do right now is that, first of all, we want NPCs to have a concrete ammo pool to use. We don't want infinite ammos anymore. So the ammo pool is actually constructed by the ammos NPC carrying their weapons, the one that they carry, the one that might have, and all the magazines they carry. They don't have any more bullets out of that. So NPC must properly use those items to fight. And the longer the engagement, the more likely it is they will run out of bullets and they will have to scavenge the environment. How do they do that? It's through the NPC, the usable system, as you've seen with Ines as well, the Ines presentation. You see that anything the player can interact with, the NPCs actually can, the same exact way. So the dead bodies can be looted, same as dropped weapons. Ammo crates will have physically inside some weapons, magazines. They can provide you with items. An NPC can understand where you can find ammo.
We have been watching this in development for actually quite a while. The ability for AI to pick up ammo for some reason took a while, but maybe it was just logic based. I guess they had to create ammo crates and stuff. Glad to see it finally in game. I hope it actually, happens. Be cool.
In Pyro, you might see it. And once they decide to do so, obviously they don't have bullets, so they cannot fight you. What they can do, they can also switch to their sidearms. And the sidearms is less effective, obviously, compared to the primary weapon, but it is still better than nothing for them to protect themselves while they go around and they loot the environment. So we'll see here an example where some NPC run out of bullets. Obviously, in this video, we give them a chance to go and loot as well. And this is a proper ammo crate that allows them to get back magazines. And another NPC arrives, and he will loot the dead body. This is the same dead body you might be able to loot, and you will not find ammos after that. But you will probably find it in the other one once you kill it. So, last but not least, another tool in the FPS arsenal is grenades. Grenades are a great tool. NPC can now fully react and use grenades in the environment. So grenades are a great tool, especially when an NPC needs to counter a player that is camping or a player that is hiding or say in a location that the NPC cannot reach. So grenade force the movement and keep the action going. But they're also very dangerous. You've seen in Ali presentation and my presentation that a grenade can make electronics explode, ignite a fire, and then the fire can propagate in the environment. So NPCs needs to properly understand the environment and not jump into the fire and get damaged. So how do we do that? Is we have a new full system to handle hazards. Basically, hazard on the technical side can create a navigation volume modifier, and the navigation module modifier gets registered in navigation system, and our basically mesh can be modified, and it will carry semantic about if that is a dangerous, something better, and how much costly it is to go through. Because maybe you have a suit that allows you to go through the fire, so that is fine. You will not, the NPC can understand that. But if they can't, they would try to find positions that are safe for them to position themselves, but also paths that will avoid those dangerous areas. And now we'll see an example of that. This is a safe environment, still fighting, but safe, safer. And what will happen now? Fire ignites and propagates. This is fully dynamic, so it's fully controlled by the fire system. The fire system modifies volumes in the navigation system, and we really know where we can and not pass at any given moment. So this is a subset of the things that we worked on and we wanted to show you today. Thanks very much for listening, and now back to Jens.
All right, so with that, I mean, and again, I don't know how much of that is going to be in this update with what they're talking about with AI coming in, but I'm pretty sure we have seen for sure, and you can check out here real quick. No, this is just structural salvage stuff, so I don't think there is anything in the Evocati notes or anything about that, but I think the AI is going to be changing here in 3.22, if it hasn't already in 3.21.1. So that is the last of the information I have on like what's likely going to be in this patch. We might still see something else added. We might see another surprise ship dropped, and there will probably be little small things, quality of life changes that don't show up on these roadmaps. So keep an eye out. Over the next couple weeks, I'll try to cover you and get you more info on that, but that's 3.22. Cheers. And that basically does it for me today. I don't really have too much else to go over, unless you guys had like questions or anything you wanted to chat about. Oh, let me not remux this video right now so that I don't lag up the stream. You seen AI picking up weapons, ammo, and looting bodies already in 3.21.1? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen that too. I think I saw them looting a body. I think I got revived by an NPC maybe a couple updates ago. I don't know. It's possible that like somehow it was already kind of functional. I'm not really sure. 3.22 live date prediction. I'm hoping in the next couple weeks, because I actually do have a streamathon planned. So me and Mrs. Tomato are putting together a streamathon. You know what? Hold on, I think she's sending it here. I could probably show you guys a little graphic. Or maybe I'll wait. I'll give it a proper release. We're planning a streamathon for the day that 3.22 goes live. So anybody who is part of GII, I'll probably open it up to the whole Discord actually, will be able to come join us for some joint missions to see some of these new locations. Just fly around and check out new stuff, do some AC stuff, new hover bikes, new ships. There's a lot of new things to try out. So I'll be spending probably 12 hours, I think, 10 to 12 hours exploring 3.22, showing you guys all the new features and missions, and also you'll get an opportunity to ruin my day and also have a good time. So she's setting up tortures, which are the things that she likes to put me through, and she's got tomato treats, which are the things that you guys get to enjoy. So thanks to Mrs. Tomato for those things. We're giving away some socks. It's getting cold. Those socks are nice. They keep your toes warm, trust me. We're giving away a couple of ships, a unique merchandise, the hoodie that you guys know I've worn a couple of times. We're giving away a couple more ships, doing some special streams, a C1 giveaway. I'll be eating bugs for some reason, maybe. I hope not. And generally, we'll just be going through 12 hours, kind of hanging out, kicking it. So anybody who wants to join us for that and come play the game can. And if you don't want to, you can always just come watch. That's fun too. So that's what we're doing for 322 Live. I'm hoping it happens by, I'm thinking December. Usually they try and wait until the last week of the month before break. So I'm thinking they might try and push it out live on like the 18th, 19th, 20th. That might give them enough time to fix things up a couple of days later before they head for holiday on the 22nd. So I'd expect it to spend a few weeks in PTU. You've been feeling lately that Mrs. Tomato really hates me? That's love, man. That's love. What's up, Crouch? How you doing? Good to see you, dude. The usual broken holiday patch. I mean, I think I've only had one particularly bad year. There is no exact release date. No, not yet. We never really know. It just kind of goes live. They don't know until like the day before. Never gives itself several days to patch things. Yeah, but this is also it's looking like this might go to PTU before December, which I don't think usually happens. So it's possible. See, they released one patch on December 17th. That definitely gave them enough time to patch some stuff up before they went for holiday. Besides that, though, they generally don't get it too early. December 20th again here, and then December 21st. But like, as long as they get it in by like December 20th, I think that gives them enough time to drop another hot patch. Streamathon is when it hits live, not PTU. Yes. I'll be showing you guys off the features in PTU and normal streams already. Inside Star Citizen today? I think there is one, but I don't think it's posted yet. I'll probably miss it. It's probably not going to be up for another few hours. Before December is a pretty small window. Yeah, I mean, they're saying that it might go live today. Who knows? Or it might go PTU today. Think they're focusing on fixing the glaring issues this time. They are definitely trying to keep a higher level of stability over in Star Citizen now. I'd say ever since like 3.17ish, they really started to get more about quality of life. And it's still taken a while to get there. Like, there's still some quality of life fixes I would suggest, but the focus is there and it's happening more and more, so that's good to see. How much CIG staff has done this year and what's in line for next year? Want them to take as much holiday time to rest as they need. This January is going to be a very important month for them. Usually when they go to break, they spend 3 to 4 weeks in January just not talking to us really. They'll put out, I think maybe they'll put out an Inside Star Citizen. Let's see. Would have been here. Yeah, so like this, and this. When were these?
Some frame rate.
This is January 27th. February 2nd. And January 26th. So from... This is the Red Festival. So this would have been just the New Year video, which is just a trailer. And this came out on January 20th. So like even the... I think... Is it coincide with Chinese New Year? Or just did they just pick a date? December 15th. So they basically don't release videos for like a month. And that gets really rough. So it's good that 3.22 and 3.21 have a little bit more content in them than I think last year's end of patch did, but it's still going to be quiet in January. And they're going to be heads down, doing a lot of meetings, seeing what features they can bring over from Squadron 42, and overall just kind of laying out the general vibe of the year. And then by the end of January, we'll get an update on what their plans are, probably for the Q1 patch. Maybe there will be a letter from the chairman somewhere in there, which you know how those are. And probably a Star Citizen live and Inside Star Citizen pointing at some of the things for that first break. Or that first, I just read your comment, for that first week. So I will be doing videos that are a little bit more focused on the year ahead rather than specifics in January. I did a year-end video last year, and it did not do well. So I'm not sure if I'll be doing one this year. I don't even need to look it up. I don't know if I'm doing a year-end review this year, but I will definitely be doing a next year, sort of what's the plan for next year video at the beginning of next year. Didn't Jared say no ISC or SCL since they're prepping for bar citizens or something? Did he say that about January too? Oh, he said that this week. No Star Citizen Live. Because they're prepping for bar citizens, yeah. But January is quiet because they're usually planning. So that's going to be the important time, and they'll come out and they'll hit us with either real good news or real bad news. Like, to put into perspective, 2 years ago when they did this, we ended up getting the roadmap change that like lit the community on fire for a couple weeks. So we'll see what happens. The salvage buffer one is a huge quality of life fix. Buy you more reclaimers after that's out. The yeah, the salvage buffer is great. That was like such a bad mistake, or not a mistake, just a bad choice with that ship, with the Vulture, to have to get up every single time you wanted to move a box instead of just pushing all of them out into the cargo bay. Well, every 2 times. I don't know, what do you guys think of 322? Good update? Bad update? Middle of the road? You think 323, the Q1 patch, is going to make it seem like nothing? Or are we still just going to be kind of slowly ramping up into production? Some people think that this Squadron 42 shift is going to make everything go sky high in no time. Other people think it's going to take a little while. What do you think? You think it's a good update? As long as the train makes it up the hill, we are good. The train that is powered by spaceships, right? Looking good so far from Evo point of view. The next patch is always the Jesus patch until we are disappointed again. 322 is definitely not the Jesus patch. I think probably like 4.1 or 4.2 will end up being the Jesus patch when they get whatever we get for server meshing stable. And even that Jesus patch will be probably succeeded by something that has to do with rendering. More Jesus patches. Your cousin and you always spend time in the Reclaimer already, so we're pretty excited. That's good. Nice. The Reclaimer has what, like a 700 SCU buffer? Just gonna be able to sit on salvage for a while. Don't think it'll ramp up super fast, but think we'll get there faster. Okay. Good, not great, unless they get the cloud improvements in. Scott, you say it's great if the cloud stuff gets into? Let's wait and watch, as always. Excited for it, but you're excited for any new stuff. I like that energy, Colt. You think they want to get as many Squadron updates out as fast as possible? Yeah, so they can polish them. Get them tested. Like, they've got them made, now they can get them into our hands to test them. And I don't know if they'd use that to balance Squadron, but it might help. We will see how replication layer pans out. You know what? That's a good point. We didn't actually go over that. Replication layer testing has not commenced. It's still sitting here in 321. It at least hasn't commenced on the preview channel from what I know. So this is kind of a hang up. I'm hoping this stuff gets in testing soon. Like, it'd be really nice to know that this is... Oh wait, no, this isn't testing, isn't it? It's an Evocati, right? I think I saw that this is an Evocati testing. I would love for this to be in wider testing, though. But it sounds like it's still got a ways to go, so maybe this replication layer separation is going to take a little longer than we hoped. We'll see. Amazing patch if the clouds get fixed. Worst visual offender in the game. That's fair. It's pretty bad. With such a large buffer, it means the beam crew can go down and spend the rest of the time packing. Right. Just working, toiling along on your ship. You just want a refinery to take the ore you have salvaged. Can't wait for refinery ships. Honestly, I was hoping the Expanse would come in this year. I hoped refining gameplay would come in this year. I'll be much more reserved with my expectations for next year, I think. I tend to lower them every year as I tune in. Hopefully with the January update, they get a lot of this stuff on the progress tracker updated so we can see where they actually are. Because I'm betting they're nowhere near where this implies they might be with refinery ships. 322 possible wave 1 or later today, so I've heard. Just a reminder, you have 22 minutes to round out your CCU change and finalize your fleet till the next event. All right, y'all. I think that rounds me out for the day. I'm going to go do some more video work. I've got a video I'm working on. You know, I was going to do a video about all of the possible changes over the next 12 months, but I think instead I'm going to break it out by subject and maybe cover those over the next couple of months. So I think I'll start with like FPS changes, maybe, and then go from there, or maybe I'll do a video on 322. Looking at this lore video I released today, as I suspected, lore does not perform super well. So that's unfortunate, but I hope you guys do get to see that one. It's on the Gattax Sulan. It also covers every alien species that we'll be playing with in Star Citizen, their motivations, their relationships with the humans, and their ships that they own and make. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff and learning more about the kind of integral parts of the game, I'd check that out. But I think that's kind of a video I probably should have made for supporters at first. Either way, I'm going to go get started more on some more videos for y'all. And hopefully I'll have something out for you in the next couple of weeks. Oh, Astropub sabotaging views? Absolutely not. Astropub is Lorstradamus. I used to do more lore videos actually back in the day. You can look them up on my channel. More ship manufacturing lore videos, but you'll actually catch a shout out about Astropub in the video itself. Evergreen. It can be evergreen. We'll see. We will see. Either way, folks, I'm going to send you on to, let's see, what's the business today? You prefer the lore videos? I might get back to them. I'm thinking about doing more of those ship manufacturing videos, probably every ship in Star Citizen, and then cover it by manufacturer. So I've got good stories behind them. But those are big videos, so it might take a while. Alright, I'm gonna pass you all over to Loken. Looks like he's online. He was also on the podcast yesterday, if you didn't catch it. His stream is just starting up, so it'll be a good little drop in there to get him off to a good start, guys. Show him some love. Thank you for the support, everybody. If you did today, Tyrus, I know, dropped some members, and we got a couple of subs on Twitch. Appreciate you all. And hope you have a wonderful day. Give somebody a hug. Be a little happy. Have some good food. Drink some good drink. Hopefully we'll be on PTU in 3.22 tomorrow. If not, though, I'll see you for some Org gameplay. Siege of Orison. Catch y'all later. Have a good one, folks. Peace out.